What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. We are going to be doing a co-stream tonight. It's going to be a just chatting with my wife. She's tonight's special guest. So yeah, I figure tonight we'll just kind of talk a little bit about us. I'm going to put on some music. I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell a little about who she is, and that's why we're doing just chatting tonight.
I've got the chill music going yet.
I have not yet. You'll hear it.
Oh, you can hear. Okay, but I didn't know if it's something that goes through your headphones. Yes, this is charming.
You wanted a piano, though, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what that just was.
That was chill.
Oh, yeah, code names bother me anyways. But okay, so I am Melissa Gilbert, known to anybody who ever sees me in the chat as M.A. Gilbert, which is technically my first initial and middle initial, but most people just be like Ma Gilbert or somebody particular, a particular child prodigy genius who likes to call me Miss Ma'am. Um, Whichever you want to call me, this doesn't matter to me. I am, of course, his wife. We've been married 11 years. Got 3 kids, all boys. Help. Send help. Um, and I'm a teacher. I'm actually licensed as a high school English teacher, but I currently work at an alternative school for students who have had and sometimes continue to have behavior issues. Kids that get kicked out of school for fighting, for bringing a knife to school, for drugs, all levels of things. Kids get sent to us in an attempt to get us to change their ways and go back to school better than they came to us as. Um, I actually just Friday, I guess, got added a role onto me to where I'm also now in charge of the behavioral incentive program called PBIS. A lot of schools have it, and it's just another extra layer of stuff they're adding to it to where we have options on how to help the kids. It kind of guides us in ways to help the kids and also gives us some ideas on how we can reward them by praising them, giving them, small trinkets or something, even just a certificate that says that they've done something good. Um, Kind of gives us that as an expanded option for us. That's really all I play video games too, but you're not ever going to probably see me play.
So a lot of people have asked her if she ever has plans to or would ever plan on streaming. How's it going, Dabs? Welcome. So this is our special guest for the night.
I keep looking at
It's
cameras on.
and the camera's right there. So anyways, I figured that we would open that up kind of as a tonight being a Q&A thing where you guys
I look like I'm a goat.
can
I'm
talk
not that.
to us and ask questions and stuff like that. And what's going on, Epitome? How you doing, zombies? Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. As I said, tonight's just chatting night. It's going to be a little different. As you guys feel inclined to do so, feel free to ask us questions. My thoughts kind of for tonight. I honestly expected my wife to tell me no when I asked if she would be interested in coming on stream and talking. She said yes. I almost died. But I'm pretty excited for this moment. There's been a lot of people that's asked her if she ever plans on streaming. She does play a lot of World of Warcraft and stuff like that. So, with that said, do you ever have plans on streaming anything ever? Maybe.
I don't really see why I should. Like, pretty much everybody streams WoW, and I don't know, there's speculation on whether or not that game's going to be even existing in the next couple of years. I wish it would. I hope so. But I'm not one that's going to change what games I play just because of whatever's cool or whatever people might want to watch. People like watching you play Rocket League, but I'm not somebody who's going to play Rocket League. What?
Said you're too quiet.
Oh,
It's picking you up, but you're quiet.
I see. Well, that's interesting. I bet you never have that problem.
Pretty much.
You're too quiet. What? What do you mean? Um,
So on that note, she says that she'll probably never play World of Warcraft because there's enough people that already play it. Or
play
never stream. Yeah. She plays a lot of World of Warcraft, as I mentioned earlier. Asian Rice Cakes, welcome. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. With that said, even though there are plenty of people that play World of Warcraft, there are not many females that play World of Warcraft. Therefore, you would technically be a quote-unquote niche. And am I really playing with a girl? Yes. See? I'm streaming.
Like most of the guild people I play with that are girl players and are not.
So with regards to World of Warcraft, what is your favorite faction, your favorite race, and your favorite class, and why?
Man, that's difficult.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, because I mean I've played both Horde and Alliance. If AJ was watching, I'd say for the Lord and for the Horde. Yeah, but I mean Alliance has its perks too. I mean I usually like to play both because even if they're doing the same kind of things in the game, they have different story setups and different information. You know, being an English teacher, I like stories. I like reading. I don't just click through, do the Azeroth autopilot, and make it go through all the quests without me reading them. I want to actually know what's going on. I think it's fun to see how the stories unfold. And particularly with the expansion before this one, BFA, they had completely two different sides of things going on. So it was kind of fun to see those stories, how they were told. So I couldn't really pick a faction that's the same. Race? It's hard to say. I mean, most of my characters I play on the Horde are Night Elf. Or not Night Elf. Yeah, that wouldn't work. That would not happen. Blood Elf. I guess they just have more customization options to make it look more like a human. I don't want to play an orc. I mean, they have their perks, I'm sure, but I don't want to be a green person. To me, if I'm playing the game, the point of it is to be kind of escaping from the real world for a little bit, but I also kind of want to feel like I'm in the story, like it's me there. And you can't do that if you're a cow or if you're a goblin.
Well, that would just be utterly ridiculous.
Even if I'm short, it's terrible. Even if I really am short, I'm not green, so I wouldn't want to be a goblin. I don't have hooves, so I don't want to be a cow or a Draenei. So, you know, for me, part of the fun of it is to pretend I'm the character. Other people like to go as out there as they can. They're fine being a worgen because they want to pretend they're a werewolf. That's fine. You know, people get different things from different games. I think that's why they have so many different races available in there for trying to attract as many people as possible. And for class, I mean, I play a Death Knight right now, and she's good. I also like mages and shamans for casting classes because sometimes my hands get tired. I'm actually needing to have surgery eventually to fix my hands problem, and I can't do that and play a melee character where you have to keep pushing buttons and keep pushing buttons. But, you know, if you have the ranged character, then you push one button and wait a couple seconds. Push another button, wait a couple seconds. It's a little bit more relaxed. So, as much as I'd like to keep playing a Death Knight, I may end up having to switch to a mage or something in the near future, just to give my hands a break. And then if I have surgery, depends on how the surgery goes, I may not be able to play at all.
Well, I mean, that would be an expectation, at least initially. So, do you? I know that you play other games like Fall Guys and all that sort of stuff. But what would you say if you had to pick one game? And this is a really loaded question again. That got you into gaming. What game was that?
I mean, I used to play Mario back with the original Mario on regular Nintendo back when I was a kid. I remember when we got our first Nintendo, my sister and I were very excited about it. But I was never very good at playing. I never did beat the original Mario. Couldn't get past very many of the levels, but I was probably, golly, where did we live? I'm trying to guess, what, did it come out in 91?
The original one?
The original Nintendo? I don't remember.
85.
Okay, we didn't get one until... It wasn't new when we got it. It was new for us, I guess. man, how long? Anyways, I was probably 5 or 6 when we first got the Nintendo, so I definitely wasn't very good at it. But I remember our cousin Steven, when we finally, I guess, found out that we were related after my mom heard my sister talking about a cousin that sounded familiar to her and found out that that actually is our related cousin. He started coming around and he would play Zelda Ocarina of Time and GoldenEye, 007 GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. And those are probably the games that got me the most interested. And we play Mario Kart too. That was always fun. Back on Super Nintendo. But I remember when the Nintendo 64 first came out, he mainly played those games. And we got a kid peeping in the background. He's brushing his teeth and just spying on everything. But we used to play those, or he used to play those games the most, and we'd play GoldenEye and Mario Kart together. But, Zelda's pretty much a one-player game. But I would watch him play it. And just years later, I was able to beat Zelda Ocarina of Time myself because I remember watching him play that game and remember some of the little floor puzzles you have to do and various things. So that's probably the main thing that got me interested, is watching him play. And he would get mad and throw the controller at the TV because, people do that. He'd get mad when he'd get stuck on the same levels on GoldenEye trying to beat the hard levels. And, Ooh. Oh, wow, Mario came out in 1983, it says. So, wow. Yeah, I don't remember. We were probably at least 5 or 6 when we got the Nintendo. Because I remember it. I know where we lived at the time. We lived there till I was 7.5 or so. So, but yeah, I'd say watching, like when the Nintendo 64 came out, that was probably the big thing for me. Because I didn't get to play Super Nintendo and Nintendo all that much. And I wasn't very good at it. Yes, he just said yes. I do not have to be the one to tell you. He can tell you. He's right here.
Yay, kids.
For any of you who have children, if you are a woman and you have only sons, be prepared that they will come to you for everything, even if their father is in the room. I don't know why. It might be the opposite for if you're a guy and you have daughters. They may be like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. But for me, it's not that way. Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. Even the cat follows me. So, but I feed the cat more often, so that's probably why.
And the cat is also a male.
He gave the cat treats. He probably come for a little bit.
So we've talked a little bit about gaming. Again, my guest tonight is my lovely wife. I honestly expected her to say no, that she wouldn't be on stream with me. She doesn't like to talk to phones, and this is very similar to a phone. She doesn't like to be in front of cameras. We're very much in front of a camera. But yeah, if you guys have any questions that you guys can think to ask, do feel free to ask. We'll kind of answer those as we can. We've kind of started off in the world of gaming just because there's a lot of people on Twitch that watch a lot of games, play a lot of games.
That's probably what it's mostly used for. I don't know.
It's interesting to consider that Mario is officially older than both of us, and I'm actually going to scoot that away from me just a little bit. But yeah, I didn't think it was that old. It is older than both of us. But so we started off with the Nintendo. You quickly jumped from the original Mario Brothers and Mario Kart to GoldenEye. So we went from the Nintendo, skipped the Super Nintendo, the Sega, a whole bunch of other things, and jumped straight into the Nintendo 64. What was your favorite game there? I assume it was GoldenEye, but what was it? Was it Mario by chance?
On Nintendo 64?
Yeah, Nintendo 64.
Probably still say Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
I did like Super Mario 64, where you had to go through and figure out how to find all the stars. Some of them were hidden in walls and random stuff, so that was fun. But Zelda, to me, like playing the ocarina, doing the music and all, that was fun. I ended up joined in band and played the flute, so I kind of wanted to pretend I was playing an ocarina sometimes. So was the Ocarina of Time your motivation to start playing flute? Maybe in some way. I mean, I remember most of the instruments when we went to do the different little trying out, blowing on the mouthpieces and seeing which ones we thought were cool. There weren't that many instruments that I played, but I thought the flute was simple because it was small, and I'm not a big person, so I didn't see myself carrying around a big tuba or banging on a big drum. I didn't want to carry around a trombone that's longer than I am, probably. when you, so,
Yeah, fully extended, it would probably be longer than you.
So I figured I would stick with something relatively small. And the flute, I mean, unless you have those really, really, really high notes, it can sound really nice and pretty. It's a nice, happy sounding instrument.
So, in regards to playing the flute, did you prefer to play the high pitched noises or the low or the low pitched noises, the notes, the tunes, the
They're noises. The lower notes, probably either the middle or lower notes for sure. I don't like the high screechy sound because to me those are harder for. I mean, the expert flutes know how to get those in tune, but
So there's beginner and expert flutes.
Flute players
or flutist.
Flute players, yes. The flutes themselves, they don't
I mean,
play.
since we're making fun of my noises.
Noises, yeah. You know what I mean.
So with that said, does anybody have any questions? We've kind of been talking for the last 18 minutes about games. I'd like to kind of change it up just a little bit. Talk about struggles in life prior to us getting together. What has been your toughest thing to overcome to get you to the point to where you are today?
I mean, I could say I'm a product of my raising, just growing up where we lived and different houses we moved to. I mean, we still never really had a whole lot of money to buy stuff with. So that's been something that I'm having to be cautious about. I mean, we've both got good enough jobs to where we don't have to worry if we can afford to buy food or not. But it kind of, when you go from growing up not having enough money to necessarily buy food or necessarily know whether or not you can afford new socks if you get holes in the ones you've got, you have to try to retrain your brain as you get older that what years ago $20 felt like nothing. That's all I've got. I'm $20. That's way too expensive. Can't do it. And now $20 is like, yeah, we can do $20. That's easy enough. I mean, we sometimes make donations to things that are $20 here and there to kind of help out different people, different organizations and stuff. And I mean, it's a blessing that we've got to a point in our lives where we've been able to do that. But I could remember it seemed like yesterday. $20 was like, no.
Wasn't long ago.
We can't put gas in our cars to go to work if we spend $20 on anything. Different times where when we first moved here even, I mean, that was more recently, but like just the amount of money it took to move from one state to another, that was its own kind of struggle. But we have to still train our brains that even though we make more money now that we've moved and I've been able to get a job too, we didn't have a job where I lived before. We've got more money to spend, but we have to be more aware of how we spend it and not kind of waste it. Because I mean, they say the more money you have, the more problems. There's a whole song about it. But anyway, you might know the one. And it's kind of true because when you have a lot of money, people who are millionaires, $100 feels like nothing to them. But for people with $1,000, $100, that's a tenth of their whole money they have. So you have to be kind of careful when you're going from, and I'm still cheap with some things too. Yeah, so there's a balance between not blowing the money and feeling like, hey, we've got the money to spend, let's spend it, or also feeling like I'm too cheap to buy something. Like, I still buy a lot of my makeup and stuff from Walmart, and I'm okay with that. I don't see problems with it really. It doesn't seem to affect me in a negative way. I don't have pimples because of that any more than I would pimples getting makeup somewhere else. So I mean, I'm still kind of have that same brain cycle, I guess, where in my mind, spending money on some things is not wise. You don't want to overspend on something. So kind of cheap in some ways. But I'm trying to train myself to kind of overthink that you get what you paid for. So sometimes you do need the more expensive things. Makeup I wash off every day. So I'm not okay spending like $60 on some makeup. I'm going to wash it off every day. But spending more money on clothes, shoes, appliances for the house because we don't want them to quit working right after we buy them. Sometimes it's worth it to make that change and to not just buy the cheapest thing. And I think Billy's had to try to convince his dad of that too, because he had a similar upbringing. Like, his dad wants to buy the cheapest thing too. And sometimes that's not wise because you're going to end up buying 5 of those cheap things instead of one more expensive thing that would end up costing the same in the long run.
And I know that is something that I struggled up with. In my upbringing, we grew up poor. Some of that due to the choices that my parents made to smoke, to drink a lot of alcohol on the weekend. The biggest example that comes to my mind is my dad would often say that he was going to go get a 6-pack, and he would come home with a case, and he would drink all of it in a single Saturday, and sometimes more than one case, especially if he had family over. And, it got to a point where it was consuming his life. I think he's finally realized that it's taken him a very long time to. It drove a hard wedge between us. We're still trying to work on making that better on our end. Because obviously I want him to be in the life of my kids. I want to have a relationship with my dad. I know there's a lot of people out there. Unfortunately, life has taken away that opportunity for them. And I know for both of us, life has taken that opportunity away from us in regards to our moms. So we at least understand how difficult that can be. If you were to go back in time to your teens/early 20s, what advice would you give yourself now to you then?
Don't get credit cards ever. It's a bad idea. It's a trap. Even if you think it's a good interest rate, and even if you think I'm only going to buy $20 here, $20 there, that $20 is going to be like $60 the next month that you owe. Like, it just multiplies in an astronomical rate. Also it's wise that something that most people don't think about, because a lot of kids still are, and they're trying to undo it in education and stuff, but a lot of people are still being taught that you have to go to college to be successful. And for myself and my husband, the jobs that we do, we had to go to college, but not everybody's that way. And if you don't know of a job that you want to do that requires you to go to college, don't go to college. Don't go and take classes you might not need and spend student loan money and go into debt with that and end up dropping out because you don't know what you even want to do with your life. Like, if you aren't sure what you want to do before you start college, it doesn't hurt you to take a year, 2 years, 3 years off until you do. We have a good friend of ours that we love her to death. She's like family. She has had all of her kids, and she's worked jobs here and there, and she's now going to become a nurse. And that's something to where she may be, some people say, oh, you're doing that now? Because she's just a couple years older than us. Yeah, I don't remember how old she is. But it's not too late to start your dream if you don't realize what your dream is until later in life. There's people that may work, hard jobs all through the 20s and 30s and realize when they're 40 that, hey, you know what? I want to go be a psychiatrist. And they start studying how to help people with mental health issues. And they go to college for that. And they can still have a pretty lengthy and good career in that if they started in their 40s. So ultimately, something that I had done, and I ended up changing my major twice in college, is because I had gotten a scholarship, free college. I was able to go for 4 years, and it was going to be completely paid for the tuition. I had to pay for the books. But I did that, and I started college, but I didn't know yet what I wanted to do for a career. And so I feel like 3 years were wasted, basically. 2, at least 2 years were wasted because I had taken classes that then ended up not counting for anything. Like, at the end of your, when you get to your graduation, they have to count how many credits you have, and there's certain classes you have to take. And some of the ones that I had taken before I changed majors didn't count for any kind of extracurricular, any kind of elective. Like, they were just extra classes I took that my scholarship paid for, and they were nothing. I mean, I learned something from those classes a little bit, but when it come to my actual goals for what I wanted to do in life, it didn't get me anywhere. So don't be afraid to wait to go to college, or even never go to college if you don't know what you want to do. Like, don't just go because you think you have to. There's plenty of careers that are great that don't require college at all. And there's also plenty of careers that you can wait for until you're sure that's what you want to do. You could still apply for scholarships. Like, even if you wait a year or two, there's still scholarships out there for you to get if you apply for them and go through all the steps to get accepted. So don't feel rushed and stuff like that, because you're a kid from 0 to 18. After that, you're an adult for the rest of your life. So you have to live with choices at that point. And you might not want to live with choice at that point. People have to file for bankruptcy and have all kinds of issues because they took out credit cards, they have student loans, they have things they can't take care of because they were told that that's what they should do. Some schools are starting to teach financial awareness and stuff in school and high school and try to get kids to know, but try to learn about it yourself. I mean, if your parents don't teach you, try to research it for yourself. My parents didn't teach me a whole lot about budgeting and stuff because my dad didn't, my mom would worry and stress about balancing the checkbook, but they never taught me information about so many things like tagging my car, paying taxes, filing taxes. I knew that stuff they did, but I didn't know how to do it. Once I was 18 and moved out and had to do that on my own, it was kind of shock factor. Like, I did what? I go where? I wait in line for how many hours to get my license renewed?
What's going on, Center Spray? And I'd like to supplement kind of what she said in terms of giving advice. Some of the decisions that I would do if you know you're going to college but don't know what for. Take your core classes first.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't take your junior and senior level classes until you know what you want to do. And if you're smart enough, which I feel like most people, especially right after high school, are smart enough if they've done their due diligence and paid attention, or they're just naturally gifted, like some people are. Not this guy, but go and flap out of your test. Take your Dantes, whatever it is. Spend your $50 to $100. It'll save you a lot of time. Save you thousands of dollars, and just make things all the better. How's it going, Pedro? Welcome, guys.
I didn't even know that CLEPS existed until probably my sophomore year of college.
That's
so, how many classes could I have just not taken?
I had heard about it, but I didn't understand what it was.
I'd never even heard about it. They're like, oh, you could go take a CLEP, and I'm like, do what? You do what to what class? I could have probably skipped at least 6 classes because coming straight out of high school, I remembered stuff. Having to go back and do it later. Maybe not as much to remember. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get closer to you.
There's a chair arm in the way.
Yeah,
you
but
can only get so close.
We can get this close.
Fit it in the same chair.
But
can't do that.
No.
Poor chair.
But yeah, for those that were maybe curious about who our guest was tonight, it is my wife. I asked her if she wanted to come on stream. I expected that she would say no, but she said yes. So here we are. If you guys have any questions that you guys would like to ask us, feel free to do so. I've got the camera covered because, well, we got little boys that came back in.
The camera doesn't go over that far.
It did where he was standing, or may have.
Well, you didn't give me hugs. Go get in bed, boys.
Hey. Did you give Mama?
I'm definitely not taller than him. I'm about a foot shorter than him.
Yeah, she's definitely not. Matter of fact, this one here is almost as tall as her. I'm leaned over, just so that I have some kind of proximity to the microphone. I'm a little louder than she is, and by a little, I mean, a couple feet, kind of like I am taller. Not really a couple feet. I'm exaggerating. It's right at about a foot.
Feet. Got what I was gonna say now. Oh, I'm in like a kneeling chair kind of thing, so I'm not even sitting down. I'm like on my knees, kneeling in this thing. So that makes me sit up in a different position to keep me from leaning backwards and hurting my back that way. Can't really lean forwards either, or I'd fall out of the chair. Just can't lean.
Yeah, she stands a staggering 5'2".
So tall. Much height.
Trimmed my beard. So I trimmed the sides. I didn't trim this.
It's getting kind of fluffy.
It was getting kind of fluffy. It was trying to get in my ears, and I'm like, that's not very comfortable. And it was kind of looking nappy. So I don't want to have a nappy beard. Of course, again, if we raise $2,000 for Extra Life, that beard is going to be gone. So are the eyebrows. They'll be gone.
At least until you do that. But I'd say unless you raise your eyebrows, but with your blue screen glasses on, it kind of hides your eyebrows a little bit. So maybe if they're gone, that won't look as bad if you got those on.
Thanks, man.
It'll look like you still have them.
And again, if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask. We've discussed video games. I asked her earlier what games got her into gaming. It was the original Mario that we found out is older than both of us, and
I haven't beat it. I should do that.
and also GoldenEye and
Zelda.
well, GoldenEye had to be for 64. I think that was the only platform.
Probably.
And then, of course, there was the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. She never got to play the best one ever, which was A Link to the Past. For Super Nintendo.
Seems like the only game I remember playing. For Super
Don't worry,
Nintendo
bro. You married. No
Mario
need to
Kart.
impress anybody. I'm trying to impress the one that matters, and that's Jesus.
I don't think he's concerned with your beard, though. If that's what he's talking about.
Jesus might be concerned with my beard. I mean, he had an epic beard.
Maybe.
And I want to be Christ-like. I need an epic beard. I'm just saying.
Epic.
Anyway. And of course, Captions thinks I'm talking about alcoholic products, but oh well.
Where does it say that? Oh, I see that. Wow, that's special. That's not what he said.
That is definitely not what I said. I need a Southern translator.
I'm surprised it's getting any of my words right.
And then from there, we started just kind of talking about growing up, the issues that we've had in our personal lives, in all the things that we had before we got married, up to the point we got married, kind of, and just giving advice to somebody that is in their teens / early 20s. What advice would we give ourselves if we can go back and tell a younger, less life experienced version of ourselves? You're from South Florida, but you can't translate your accents.
I think Florida's different from the other southern people.
I'm pretty sure you're from Chicago and you live in Florida.
We're a little bit different.
But
I found out the school nurse we have that comes around apparently is from Wisconsin.
But how you doing?
A lot.
Sorry, I had to do that.
What did you even say?
How you doing?
What's that got to do with anything?
Sounding extra Southern.
That does not sound extra southern at all.
And
That's his southern accent. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how we sound.
Because I was born in California, but didn't grow up there. I grew up in Arkansas.
Yeah, but your parents were born and raised in California. So, I mean, they're the ones.
No. My dad was born in Arkansas.
When did they move to California then?
Raised in California.
So opposite of you.
Opposite of me. And my mom was born in Indiana, raised in California. But she sounded more Southern than you.
That sounds about like me. I mean, I sound pretty dang Southern, but my dad was born and raised in New York. And for many years he sounded like a Yankee. And if he talks to my aunts or uncle on the phone, he will
Sorry
go
for
back.
anybody that's up north.
I'm sorry. That's what they called each other on purpose. But he would still, start sounding a little bit more like them whenever he's on the phone with them, because that's how they talk to. My mom being born in California, though, she didn't stay there for very long, so she just sounded Southern. I mean, she's from Arkansas, pretty much.
Yeah, we kind of talked on parental issues, how my dad had an issue with alcohol, and how we both grew up poor, largely due to the choices that our parents made.
Some of it wasn't, like my parents smoked like yours did, and so, that was where some of the money went. They spent money on cigarettes rather than buying stuff they needed to. But I think what caused a big problem for me growing up is that both my parents were working good factory jobs until the point of when I was 7, and that's when my mom had to have heart surgery. And she wasn't able to work for quite a while after that. And even though she was able to get disability, it didn't really replace her paycheck. But they still kept smoking. That didn't help her health or the money situation, plus all the doctor bills.
And then the similar thing happened with my mom. She had surgery on her wrist, and then the factory that she worked at went under. I don't know if you recall a company way back when we were in like elementary, called Crane Industries. But
I feel like I've heard of. Mine worked for Ayers, and they went under. That's when my dad started working at.
Yeah.
Ream shortly after that. Well, no, I think my dad worked at Ream shortly after I was born. My mom still worked at Ayers for a while before she had to have surgery and couldn't go back to work, and now they're gone. They closed too. Used to make furniture of some kind.
And of course my dad, he was a mechanic at a lot of places, but between smoking and his habit of drinking, which he ended up realizing very late, that how much time it consumed, it drove a wedge. It made us not have money. It made us not be able to do things that we probably would have been able to do otherwise. At least occasionally, it wouldn't have been a yearly thingy. We just didn't have the money.
Yeah, that's something that's kind of gets to be harder. Some people don't have a choice as far as like when they have kids, because sometimes things just happen unexpectedly. Sometimes they happen at just like perfect timing, but something you have to remember is that when you become a parent, it doesn't matter how much you want something, you do have to make sure your kids come first. And I don't think that's spoiling your kids. Making sure they go to the doctor, making sure they have clothes, making sure they brush their teeth and can brush their teeth, making sure they have all the things they need to have first. That's not spoiling your kid. That's just being a parent. And those are things that I felt like our parents didn't really prioritize. And it may have come down to their generation and how they were raised as well. My mom was an only child, but then my dad was one of 10 siblings. So they had wildly different views of being a kid and having kids.
And meal prep and all that sort of
stuff. My
dad's
the fourth oldest, so he had a bunch of younger siblings, and then 3 older siblings, and then my mom, it was just her. So they had different experiences entirely. And I don't know what, I couldn't even begin to tell you what job my grandparents on my mom's side did. I have no idea. But on my dad's side, they were farmers, so yeah. Farmers with 10 kids versus my mom's parents, whatever they did with 1 kid.
It's them New York farmers.
Yeah.
Did they make some paste, or did they get the rope?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. Don't even know if they had cows or if they had crops. Were they ranchers? Were they farmers growing up the crops? We don't know. I'd have to ask them and find out. Like, what did y'all farm? Did you have pigs? Did you have chickens? Could be anything. Could be a bunch of stuff, Could be a variety of things. It might be, well, they had 10 kids. They had crops, chickens, and cows. They needed those 10 kids to work.
It
was common back then.
I was going to say it was common in that day to have multiple kids. Your dad comes from a family of 10.
Yeah.
My dad comes from a family of 8. So even though there's a decent age gap between your dad and my dad. It was still kind of uh, systematic for that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just how things went. I mean, the generations they were born in, the different struggles that were going on. Let's see, my dad was born in 46. I don't remember when the Great Depression was, but I mean, they had all that going on, and then your dad born in the 60s with everything going on there. So, you know, every generation has had their own struggles. I mean, our kids now are having to deal with this COVID stuff as kids.
Well, and then they've also got to
That's affecting them.
they've also got to deal with the fact that I guess our generation was kind of the last generation that didn't have technology in front of them 24/7. Now they've
Big
got
difference.
technology in front of them all the time,
Yeah.
just being able to cope with problems and be able to relate to people when normally they don't have to talk to people.
Yeah, social skills just out the
They're
window.
they're very different times.
That's something I'm having to adjust to as a teacher as well, and I don't think it's this way everywhere. But the teaching I was trained for in college and the teaching that now exists are the same. I was taught about teaching grammar and writing and having students read Shakespeare even if they don't like it. And now, I think every single school, maybe not the elementary schools, but I know from middle school through high school, the students, all their work's on the computer. They don't have books at all. They do not. They don't sit and read book. They don't sit and read The Giver. They don't sit and read any actual hardback books anymore. It's all on the computer.
And to some extent, that's a
It's
smart
convenient
idea.
as far as not having to print books and pay for that.
Well, and then you factor in the people
And having
like
students destroy the books.
exactly. That's where I was going with it. You've got a lot of students that didn't like to read. They like to draw.
Seen that. I've seen
Some
interesting
of,
drawings in
some of
books.
them do some really cool things with it, and some of them do some very inappropriate things with it, and everything in between.
Somebody put mustaches on all the people in one of my speech books once. All of them, they had mustaches. Males, females, mustache. Bill Clinton was in one of the pages.
Hey, I
that
did that
had
with
a
the newspaper.
mustache. Well, I mean, the newspaper, that's fine. You're meant to throw it away. But a book that's meant to be shared between classes,
I did
it's
really
a
good on
class
that one.
fit and edited. They like to do that. So, I mean, it's taken away that. You don't have to worry about that. But now you have kids breaking computers. So, I don't know. I guess most textbooks, if you had to replace one, would be like maybe $80 or something. Now, if they lost their computer charger, they have to pay $60. So I guess it's cheaper in that way. But it's only so good if you can replace them. Like where there's a chip shortage, we can't get new computers because there's a chip shortage. That's a problem. If all the computers quit working tomorrow, we have no content for the students to do. Why is this song doing this? I thought we were listening to piano, and now I'm like, techno.
There's piano. You want me to skip it?
Yeah, what is this? Piano versus the Decepticons and Autobots? I don't know.
Autobots.
Hey, look at it.
roll
Look, it
out.
said Decepticons and how did it say Seattle versus the Decepticons? It didn't say piano, it said Seattle. Okay, then. That's a nice way to put your... if somebody that actually has hearing impairments trying to watch this, like, what?
Well, you know, on the bright side, it does do a lot better
Those are
than
giant
the
Autobots.
other program did. So,
It does seem a lot more accurate, but that's... you can only do so much with accents, I understand that.
and sometimes we're both talking, and it's like I don't know which one to do.
Yeah.
They both said this. I think it said SpaghettiOs.
Who knows? We might say SpaghettiOs. It says SpaghettiOs.
Twice.
3 times. SpaghettiOs, SpaghettiOs, SpaghettiOs.
It loves SpaghettiOs.
Today is the SpaghettiOs stream. We're going to tell you about our favorite thing. The meatballs is the best thing.
Well, while we're on the subject of SpaghettiOs, what was your favorite canned food growing up? Random
You
thought.
know, my mom used to buy canned tamales. They're actually pretty good. I don't know. I don't even know what aisle they're on in the store to go find them. What would they be by? I don't know. But you just pop open a can and there's like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 tamales in there, and you just pull them out with a fork and they were good.
we were talking about pianos and canned food. You could tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Why am I hearing crickets?
Which was my favorite,
It
by the
is.
way. I don't know,
Tuna fish?
but it does sound better than
Oh, that's no crickets I've ever heard sound like that. And if they did, I'd be searching the house, tearing up the floorboards to find it. Canned foods. I also like the little pot pies, the banquet ones that were cheap.
Yeah, those
There
were
for a
good.
while, we could find the ones that were ham and cheese and potato, and they were.
Well, you can't tune an electric piano. This is true, Daps. This is true. and that is what we have. I guess technically we have a keyboard. That's what our middle child is currently learning on.
I'm supposed to be trying to learn with them, and it's vaguely confusing.
Yours is a keyboard too. Oh, you play too? Nice.
Nice. I don't know what Rock Jam, some random brand ours is. Yeah.
It's a brand that I never heard of until.
This is one of the ones
we were looking.
recommended by his music teacher, I guess, for having all the features and being kid-friendly to use and all that. So, since he's 7 almost, he's still learning to space his fingers out the proper way. So I guess that's the age when their hand development happens to where they can.
Yours is a Yamaha. Okay, yours is probably higher end. You're just a little older than our middle kid, but you know.
He said just a little older.
Just a little older.
Maybe, depends on how old he is, but is he one of your teenage followers or one of the adults?
College age, you know.
Oh yeah, okay. So just a little bit older than just. We can multiply the age by something.
It's less work,
Something.
although you want a real one at some point. So I would love to have a Roland, but I don't play well enough to justify the cost. They sound amazing. They play amazingly. They're about as authentic as you can get.
We got a real piano. I would
Without
only
getting
do
a real
that
one?
if we are planning to never move again, because I wouldn't want to have to get it messed up while moving.
Yeah, but well, you'd
And
have to get it
then-
retuned,
Yeah.
which in today's time, good luck finding somebody that does that. I mean, they exist, but
Yeah.
they're not common anymore.
A lot of people don't have real pianos. They're fine with keyboard. It's one of the professions that's kind of slowly getting to be less prominent because people aren't using them, so people aren't training to become that. 'Cause they wouldn't get
Well,
paid.
and even
do
in
that.
terms of professionals, you know,
They might do it as a hobby now. not
Mobility.
actually. Like, what do I mean? Traveling from place to place to do it.
yeah, actually going to go play a piece for a concert or something like that.
Yeah.
You just load up the keyboard, unload, connect, boom, you're ready. As opposed to
Definitely.
haul something really heavy, get it there, retune it. You know, you're talking about a lot more time, a lot more money, a lot more everything involved.
Kind of like our current church setup and all that. I mean, we wouldn't need an actual piano right now.
Oh,
It
that'd
would
be miserable right now.
terrible. But if we ever get a more settled location, it would be practical. I mean, a lot of the churches that are more established, they have pianos. Some of them have organs. You know, things that have been there. If that church ever closed, they would just come with the church because they're not moving those. But right now we have to move all the things.
So we've established that you're a music teacher, that you were also a gamer.
I'm not a music teacher.
Not a music teacher. That you were an English teacher. We've been talking about music. Sorry,
Don't sign me up for that. Gig.
squirrel.
I teach
English
music now.
teacher.
Good luck. You're all gonna fail.
Interested in music. You also do gaming. So we've essentially classified you as a nerd.
Yeah.
Marvel or DC? The real question that matters for some people. I've actually got a couple on the nerd scale of questions in regards to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which ones I like the best. You know, it's kind of hard because I like Batman, but otherwise I pretty much like Marvel. I don't really care for Superman and Wonder Woman. Maybe I've not read into the stories enough to care, but I don't like their stories much. Batman's to me got an interesting story, but otherwise I would choose Marvel.
All right, so you would pick Marvel. Out of all of Marvel that you're familiar with,
I'm familiar with.
who is your favorite and why?
Captain America, because he chose to do that. I mean, he literally signed up to let them experiment on him because he wanted so badly to help, but he was just a little puny guy and couldn't. And so he actually set himself up to go do that, possibly knowing he could die, but he wanted so badly to help that he did it anyways, and it turned out working out mostly in his favor with a few little problems. But otherwise, he got to help people the way he planned to do.
And here's a side question on that, just to kind of put you on the spot just a little bit.
Been on the
Do
spot since I sat
do
here.
you know Captain America's actual name?
You know, if you wouldn't have asked me now, I probably would know. I don't remember. I'm sad now. It's gonna sound so obvious when you say it. I'm like, oh, duh, of course that's his name.
Okay, so my hint to you is there is a particular, and this might not be a good hint, but there is a particular kind of car that we're gonna say is a Camaro. Specifically, it's a Camaro SS. So the initials
Okay.
are not SS, but
Okay.
the first name is S.
Steve.
I guess I could have used Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too.
Steve. Steve. What's the next last name? It's not Smith, because that's just dumb.
It's a beautiful day in the
Steve
neighborhood.
Rogers?
There you go.
But that's not SS, that's SR.
I said the first one is
Oh,
S. It's
okay.
not SS, but it starts with S.
What was that?
That was this.
Oh,
The
okay.
brokey. I need a new desk apparently.
Yeah, I just heard like a loud clank. I was like, what'd the cat do? He's sitting behind me. Chance.
Dabs, I got a question for you
minor
because you
distraction.
know that you knew that it
Here's
was
the
Steve
cat.
Rogers. Do you know
Cat
what
has entered the chat.
what Captain America's shield is made out of? And do you?
Is it made of the same stuff as Wolverine's claws?
You don't remember.
But that I mean,
Zombies probably knows. Perhaps. Is your brother a bigger comic fan than you? Oh, you're more of a DC guy. I gotcha. I would say that is blasphemous, but I like
how dare
I like Batman as well.
dare
That's 100% my favorite. Although as a general consensus, I like Marvel better.
This is our cat named Chance. He was a stray. We rescued him. He is a very sweet cat. He's the only cat I've ever had that's this nice. 3 elements?
3 elements.
See, I was just thinking 1 element, so I would not have gotten it right any kind of way. Hey, although I did have an idea about that being one of them.
So I remembered that one. I didn't realize the other 2, but your answers, of course, are there.
Huh.
1, 2, and 3. Son of Light, welcome. How are you doing? We're currently just doing a just chatting stream with my wife. I asked her if she would want to come on stream, and
Here I am.
I expected her to say no, but
Ta-da.
she didn't. So, huzzah! But
Gilbert and guest. It's a guest.
But yeah, she's usually over there on the other side of the room playing World of Warcraft. We normally don't, other than when people hear her giggle in the background or something like that, really get to hear much from her. So I thought I'd bring her on, let you guys ask questions that you guys might have.
We need to get our controllers working again because we can't play Fall Guys, all 4 of us, right now with not enough working computers that we can find.
Speaking of which, there's
Oh,
Because
I'm not
this,
play Fall Guys.
because this is
have a working controller.
because this is here.
Now if I can find a cord, you know what? Got a C-type? No.
No, it's a Type B,
Never.
unfortunately.
Because I have a cord to that. but
And
I
well,
don't.
no, you have
I
a
don't know where it went.
you have a cord for that.
Mm. Oh, yeah, because that's a C-type. But
Yeah.
that's your one. Is it still working?
I mean, it works. It just for Rocket League, whatever reason, it just doesn't want to.
Sadness.
Dabalito?
Oh, they're saying that because of Dab. I got it. It's like a nickname. Dabalito.
Ah, okay.
My little Dabalito. How are you doing?
It means little dab. Okay.
I think Lito usually means little. So.
Burrito. Little burr? Just kidding.
I don't remember what bird is in Spanish. It's like something.
I'm kidding.
Might be thinking of a different language. I don't remember. Anything else worth talking about?
What is your favorite verse in the Bible?
I still think I always like Proverbs 3 and 5. Is he going to put that in there? Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. I think that's the best one because we understand stuff wrong. We get stuff wrong all the time. And even if we think we know what's going on, we can be wrong. So it's good to just trust what God is doing. People try to interpret dreams. People try to interpret what they think is happening in their lives. But sometimes you just have to let it play out and see what's going to happen. Because you may be wrong. You may have some bad thing happen to you and you think it's going to lead to other things. Or maybe you have something that seems like a good thing to you and think it's going to lead to bigger good things. Sometimes you just have to let it play out and see what actually is going to happen. Because still, no matter what, it's like God has the puzzle and we just have a few pieces. He knows what's going to be happening before it happens. He knows what's going to be good and right for us no matter what we pray for and hope for. He still knows what's good and right for us. And we can't just pretend that we know everything because we do not. Not even close.
I think that is a good one. My favorite for the longest time, and I've mentioned this several times, has been 2 Timothy 4:7. That one speaks near and dear to me as I watched my mom battle cancer for 10 years. During all that time, she never mentioned she never complained why me or anything like that. She had plenty of opportunities to be able to do so. Yeah, I'll show them the tattoo in a moment, I guess. But no, it'll be forward. Just like that is there.
Okay, you got it set up to where it has a way to flip it.
But she had plenty of reason to ask why me. She had plenty of reason to doubt. During all that, never did she do that. During her last 2 weeks, I prayed a lot for the strength of Job. For those that are familiar with that story, pretty much Job lost everything, and in those moments, I really did too. My dad was drinking a lot. I quit my work to take care of my mom. He came home, got drunk one night, and kicked me out. Nowhere to go. Very, very, very trying time in my life. Had a whole lot of things going on. Just trying to figure out what to do. And thankfully, I had friends that were there. Pride has been something that I have struggled with historically, and of course, God has a way of humbling us. And in those moments, I
We'll have to figure that out.
I very much I'll take off work, I guess.
Okay.
But
He seemed to be interested in hanging out with you today, so maybe we'll feel that way tomorrow.
but yeah, God was looking out. He humbled me in those moments, put me in a position where I had to ask for help because really, I had nowhere to go. And reading through chat, I see that Dabs shared his favorite verse is John 4:24. God is spirit, and with his worshipers must worship in spirit and in truth. And a little further down, I saw where Son of Light mentioned John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. And
I mean, I think you said that was a cliche, sort of like, but it's still good. It's so good. I mean, it's one of the more important verses for people to remember and to think about. I mean, most people want to stick to it as something easy for people to remember, but it's something that's important to remember too. So maybe that's why God made it so easy. Like it's one of the easiest ones for people to recite.
And
it's good because it means it's part of your memory. It's in your heart, and you think about it in an important way.
Well, and it goes hand in hand with his commandments. He loves us so much that he sent his one and only Son, and in that, the commandment is to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, mind, and soul. So that love is really, really meant to be a part of it. And I see you also mentioned Psalm 32:8. I will instruct you to teach, and instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you and watch over you. And that, of course, that is something that I have been praying about recently, and because of that, this I went to a kids camp, not realizing that it was a kids camp.
Yeah.
And this is the one that they taught there. It was one of their memory verses. They got candy for it, and as I really sat and meditated on it, it really spoke to me as I struggle trying to remember specifically what Scripture says, and even more so, where is it located? Because I think the worst thing that we could do as Christians, when somebody asks, "Where does it say it?" Oh, it's in the Bible. Oh, well, cool.
Yeah.
Where? If we can at least be like, I believe it's in the book of John, or it's in, or it's in First or Second Thessalonians, or what have you. I'm actually going to go ahead and change that to the
So that's kind of hard to read.
ESV version. I like that better. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. And that is really important as we deal, especially with trials and tribulations, which you and I have had plenty of trials and tribulations over our 11 years.
Just all random struggles everywhere.
And that's just the time that we've been married.
We didn't just ride the struggle bus; we drove. We owned that bus. We had to make payments.
Well,
on that too.
I mean, you might have drove it. I got ran over by it and hung onto the rope that's hanging in the back.
I drove the crazy train. You drove the crazy.
I didn't drive a crazy
the struggle bus.
I didn't drive the struggle bus. I got ran over by it, grabbed onto the rope that was hanging, and I was like, Lord, help me.
Yeah. Just pulling you along.
But we've had some ups and downs, and through that, we have grown to where we are. I look back when we first started dating. It hadn't been that long that it hadn't been that long that my mom had passed. It had only been a few years since your mom had passed, so we never got to meet each other's moms. And I was living in an apartment that was a pretty nice apartment, but it looked like it was ghetto on the outside.
Yeah.
Nothing super nice, but it was home. Just wondering how we were gonna be able to make a car payment when I was making a minimum wage and they were only giving me 8 hours a week, and just to where we are now, it is nothing short of a godsend.
It's funny you mention like car payments and stuff. I mean, just thinking about the cars we've had, and I'm still trying to remember how we got to the point that we have the cars we have now. Because I'm like, I remember that one we had that you couldn't even get in the passenger side door. You had to have it open from the inside, and like that thing was like a death trap. I mean, wherever it is now, it's definitely not running, but it was just funny that, I mean, we went from that to where we are now, that we were that bad off that I don't know. Did I had my neon then still, and then we had that, and I mean, it was necessary to have more than one car because of where we worked and stuff, but it was just crazy that we went through that time period. And I don't remember, was our oldest, was he even born yet?
During that time, no.
Okay. So I know it didn't seem like we had that car for very long before things got a little bit better job-wise somehow. I don't remember how.
Yeah,
Maybe that's when I graduated college and started my job. I can't remember, but it just went from like one extreme, this terrible, terrible car that was falling apart, couldn't get the doors open, and
you know,
I don't think the windows would go up or down. I can't remember. Something was wrong. There was all kinds of things
they
wrong with it.
they had to be. You had to push the power button and pull them up at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the point we were at that time. It got us out of out of hard times.
I mean, you were able to have a job because of that car existing. It was really bad.
And you know, there was a lot of people that said that they didn't understand why I was going from temp job to temp job at the time. But you know, I was doing what I could to make ends meet, and just trusting that God was going to provide. And you know, we still paid our tithes as we could. There was times where we just absolutely couldn't, because it would mean the difference between making it and not. But we still did it as we could. We still trusted, and you know, there was times where we were just like, don't even know how we're gonna make it, and we'd have like random checks appear, and in the times where we just really needed it.
Yeah, we've had that happen. Not that long ago, we refinanced his car and got to get a better rate on it to try to eliminate some of our problems with debt that we still have from moving and everything else that's gone on in the past 3 or 4 years. And we just figured after they paid off the loan on the original loan balance that was a done deal. But apparently there was some money left over that they paid extra, and so we got a check in the mail for that, and it just happened to be at a good time. Or, you know, he hasn't made a ton of money streaming, but it seems like every time he's gotten money from it, it's been when we needed it. You know, just random little, here's the extra money. Oh, yes, thank you. We needed that right now. So just somehow always lines out perfectly. And, you know, people could say that it's because we pay tithes, and that could be a big part of it. Like, knowing that we have done our part to pay the bills we're supposed to pay, and taking care of the important things that we have to pay for first. We have a roof over our head. We have cars so we can go to work and keep a roof over our head. And we buy food.
And occasionally we get to give to people that need it.
Yeah. So been taking care of those things first, and paying tithes makes a big difference, versus people saying, hey, I got this extra money. I'm going to go buy the newest phone. I'm going to go buy a special paint job on my car.
PlayStation 5 today, there was a line at all the Best Buys.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you can't get people to do right with their money if they don't have the right mindset behind a goal of what they want to do with it. Like, I've got too many students that don't understand the concept. I've gone over sheets with them, trying to get them to not have mistakes I've made, that there's a difference between wants and needs. You may need a phone nowadays because you need someone to contact you about a job or in case there's an emergency. But you do not need to have the newest phone every time one comes out. I had a student the other day, he's 13 or 14, talking about he wants the iPhone 12. I'm thinking he better wait till he can have a job. Yeah, but I'm like, he said something about he's already tired of the 11, and I'm like, you shouldn't even have an 11.
Yeah, you know.
I'm sorry. Our kids are getting hand-me-down phones.
When
ours just don't work.
Yeah, when you need a phone, there's nothing wrong with a flip phone to make ends meet, especially if you're struggling to get by. It doesn't have to be the latest iPhone or Android, which, you know, is really expensive, and it adds a lot onto your phone bill.
I think it comes down a lot to the idea of what people see on TV. They call it the keeping up with the Joneses problem, where people see what everybody else has and they think they have to have it too. And I'm like, but do you actually want that? Or do you want that just because somebody else has it? It has to be things you like. People that dress in the newest, greatest styles,
Well, I would.
repaint their house and redecorate their house every couple of months because of new trends. Like, oh, it was popular last year and the year before to paint your house gray, but oh, now that's boring. Don't paint your house
Well,
gray.
and I would
So
say
what
that
about those who already did? Are they supposed to repaint it again? No, I'm not
I
doing
would
it.
say that we're not even trying to keep up with the Joneses on TV anymore. Now we're looking at things like TikTok and
Yeah,
Twitter and
TikTok, Twitter.
Facebook and all those others,
Hi, child prodigy genius. How are you?
all those other sorts of all those other sorts of things. Um,
No.
but you know we're comparing our lives
Hey, stay,
uh,
stay, stay.
based on what we're seeing on social media, which is nothing more than people's highlights. We're not seeing them in the day to day, in the struggles. We're only seeing
Uh-huh.
their highlights. We're not seeing for the lack of better terms, low lights.
That can be a hard thing too, because I mean, we as Christians, as we do have struggles, but it's a lot of times people don't want to show those struggles. They want to act like their life is perfect because they don't want to, I don't know, put people off on Christianity. They don't want people to think that their lives are going to be harder because they're Christians, but really they're not any harder or any easier. I mean, life is just kind of rough right now, anyways, for everybody. To me, it's easier to be able to have somebody to pray to help kind of relieve that stress. But it's too easy for people to be like their life is perfect online. And Christians, we want to be Christ-like, and we consider Christ to be perfect, so we want to look like we are perfect. But then you hear stories of pastors getting arrested for various things they've done wrong, or occasional one here and there you hear about somebody committed suicide, and they're people that everybody else has been looking up to, like, hey, they're so great, I wish I could be like them, they're so Christ-like, they're so great, and they were not perfect at all. But on the surface, what all we saw, they looked great, and you can kind of get that bad perception, and that's kind of the hardest thing to me about being a Christian, is that you have to kind of balance between showing people the right way to do things, but also making sure they understand that you're not doing it all right either.
And
If
that
that makes any sense.
well, and
You should be perfect. I'm not perfect.
but
Don't be like me. You
well,
should
well,
try to be perfect.
well, here's the thing though,
Here's
is
my example of trying.
you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. However, we go back to God sending his son so that he might become sin,
Right.
so that he would die for us, so that in him and through him we can become perfect in him. And I absolutely agree with Son of Light. We definitely don't see behind their behind the scene life. We only see the highlights. And of course, I also agree with what DJ Paris said. It's easy to look at somebody sharing their struggles and say, "Oh, you're just seeking attention." And
Yeah.
there is absolutely
Some
cases
people do
where
that,
it's
but
true, but there's also cases where they really need somebody, and who are we to judge?
yeah.
Um,
I mean, mental health is still something that a large percentage of people probably struggle with on the inside, behind closed doors. No one must know. My
how
life must be perfect.
how awful would you feel if you were like, oh, they're just seeking attention, and then the next thing you know, they're not here because they were really crying out for help, and you just dismissed it as seeking attention. And for DJ Perry, you're just getting here. So my wife is my guest tonight. Um, I thought we would kind of have an open forum where you guys could ask us questions if you guys would like to, or we've talked about games, work, life, advice that we would give to teenage slash 20-year-old
She has a
stuffs.
question. How are you? I'm glad it's almost Friday, because then we have 1 week left, and then it's fall break, and I don't have to go to work for a week and see my students for a week. And I'm sure as much as I like that idea, they like it even more. They're excited.
You don't want it to be tomorrow?
Why?
Really?
Do you have a test or something important to do? that you're nervous about?
That you're going to ace because you're the child prodigy genius?
I have a test. Yeah.
Here's a question for you.
What grade do you teach? Well, here we go. I'm licensed for 6th through 12th grade, but right now in my class, I have 3 8th graders and a 10th grader. I don't know why it's that way. They were going to just give me 8th graders, but now that we're getting more students in that are high school, they're starting to kind of split them up. But since it's an alternative school, I don't have a whole lot of students. They purposely try to keep our numbers small because we're supposed to be trying to be more focused. Yeah, 8th graders are a special breed of kids. Young teens in general, 13, 14-year-olds. If any of y'all are that age, bless your heart, hang in there. You'll make it. If I could find any pictures of me at that age, I promise you they're not good. It's just an age where you're trying to figure out more of who you are. You're still more mentally that kid, but you're trying to be a grown-up. They want to be grown. They think they have the attitude of a grown person, but they have not lived my experiences, so they don't even know the half of it. But it's a special group, and they're lovable in their own way, just because of how weird they are. The Korean, yeah, there'd be pictures of me. It would be very cringy. This was, late 90s, so cringe.
We should have got pictures.
I don't even know where. I'd have to have my sister find pictures in the big box.
I mean, I guess we could always pull up a Facebook, but
I could put up a wedding picture.
Well, I could do that here. Share that.
Share where?
Share there.
Without it going to your Facebook page and showing.
Yeah, I can crop. That's a thing. But yeah, it's been an interesting thing. We were talking about how we've been married for 11 years and how in all that time we've hit absolute bottom a couple of times, and now we are where we are, and there's been a lot of down moments. There's been a lot of good things as well.
Okay. I don't know how this picture was, but this is one I forgot to college.
Well, you're welcome to hold it up if you want.
I think I was 12 or 13 or something. So, for funsies. Here's a picture of my sister
validate on
and
that.
I. Here's a picture of my sister and I when we were I think I was maybe 12 or 13. So if I can get.
And I'm actually gonna go ahead and do this.
But yeah, there's only so much that can be said for what you used to dress like, and a lot of the styles that used to be cool back when we were in middle school and high school.
So
are the ones coming back now. So I see y'all trying to wear pleather and plaid. That was cool a long time ago.
So she's studying for her math test. She said that we've been married for 68% of her life.
Well, it's that way. I've got students that I don't remember what one of them said the other day that made me feel very
22
old.
years. That's awesome.
They were asking me about something, and I realized that when I was in 9th grade, that was 20 years ago. So I was like,
"You're not studying for no math. You don't study math." It's because you're the child prodigy genius and don't need to study math.
You practice math. You don't study. You practice.
But that is really awesome on the 22 years, Son of Light. We're living the Bon Jovi song. We're halfway there. I'd say we're living on a prayer, but we're you can. We're doing pretty well. Of course, my wife.
When he was little.
You guys have seen my oldest kid, and
our oldest kid looks just like him. It's like
there's me when I was little, and I was actually cute.
Look at all that hair. You can't see his face very well. It's just an old, it's like an old Polaroid picture, so it's kind of hard to get the lighting right. Where am I trying to hold this in front of the camera?
Look at that. That one's your live. Quit trying to look at this one.
Oh. Okay, but anyways, I don't know how well you can see his face because of the lighting and all of that. But,
you're Billy too? Hey, I can remember it. Nice. And that is one of the things that I decided when we had kids. I was like, we're not gonna have a Billy because I am Billy. My dad's a Billy. My grandpa's a Billy. And I'm like, no, not gonna happen. It's at least gonna skip one generation.
It ends here.
Your classmate and you decided that you didn't want to do statistics, so you might have found a way for Excel to do the exercises. Yeah, I did that in college and it worked amazingly.
Hey, way, you can't see that. Hang on. Part of a wedding picture. With the screen glare and all that loveliness, but we had like turquoise and coral colors and all that. And he did shove cake in my face. Thank you. Thank you.
If we lower the brightness, it will focus better. Let's see. I can. Oh, you're talking about on her phone.
The picture that looked like I was trying to sing when I was saying our vows.
Did you catch that?
Yeah. I just gotta find another picture where it's showing.
Yeah, I squirrel. Of course, we were up like this earlier, and she's like, "I'm pale," and
yeah,
it's true.
Well, my phone brightness is almost all the way down, so we'll see how that goes. Glare.
Yeah, let's turn this off.
Wow, it's got that much of a delay, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I said to use that one.
Anyways, best you can see.
All you need is the basic classics. Classics. Wow. Classes. Then take the trade. You want no extra. Extra classes needed. I don't blame you there. And that was actually one of the things that I had advised younger people to do is to get out your basic classes first. If you're smart in a subject, DJ Para, then to go ahead and CLEP or Dante's out of them. How's it going, Yoshi? Welcome.
DJ Para, I had to take a statistics. I can't do it if I think about it. I had to take a statistics class in college, and the teacher literally gave us everything we needed to do on Excel. I don't know how to calculate anything manually. They just showed us what formulas to put into Excel to do it that way, and so to this day, I don't know statistics. Bad news, but I passed that class.
Well, and as we've talked before,
I don't really need statistics anyway.
The problem with
number crunching with the
statistical data is you can fudge it very easily. And how do you do that? You go to a location where you know you're going to get a desired outcome. Yeah. If I want to, for instance, and guys, before anybody gets mad and leaves, it is politically driven. If I want to say that President Trump is the best president ever, and I want to prove that, I'm going to go to a place where I know the population is very conservative. Conversely, if I want to prove that Joe Biden is the best president ever, I'm going to go to a location where the population is very liberal and not conservative. And then statistically, 98% of people think that X, whatever X is. And that is the problem that I have with statistics, is you can get the desired outcome based on how you get your variables.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate for like how they report news and stuff. I mean, there's so many things that people look at statistics to, for like how many people die of the flu, how many people die of cancer, how many people die of heart disease. I mean, if you look at like the whole country, then that's one set of numbers. But if you look in the South, that's a different set of numbers, because more people tend to have diabetes and heart disease in the South, probably because we fry everything. But
True.
Those numbers are going to tell a different story depending on where you live. That'd be like asking, I don't know, go to England and ask people how many people want to eat French fries. They're going to look at you like you're funny because they don't call them French fries. And so you're going to get like a very low number. The few number that you're going to find are probably people who moved there from the U.S. So, I mean, you can skew the numbers however you want by going to a set place and asking numbers that are going to give you the answers you want. In one of the classes I had to take, I want to say it was I want to say it was in the debate class and all that. They call it begging the question, when you're basically setting up a question in a way to where you're going to get the answer you want. Kind of like if I were to tell Billy, man, this pie isn't the best pie you've ever had, isn't it? I'm already trying to get him to say yes by the way I asked the question. So
Oh, yeah.
you. It's kind of like, I dare you to say no. I dare you. I've got my hand on your neck. I dare you. You know? So they're really trying. It's kind of manipulative. Yeah, it really is.
It's kind of like a person that does magic tricks doing what they call a forced pick.
They're begging you to answer what they want you to answer.
The perception is that you are getting a truthful, honest pick, and you are really getting to pick what you want. The reality is it's a forced pick. They made the variables so you have the desired outcome. And DJ Perry, I see your comment about political news channels there. It is no different here. The biggest objectors that I would say that we have are CNN, if you're a if you're liberal leaning, or Fox if you're conservative leaning.
Those are the main ones. All the other ones kind of fall in between and all over the place.
And I try to watch both of them because I want to see how they are spinning the story. Because generally where they're saying the exact same thing, that's your truth. Or if they're saying polar opposites, the truth is somewhere there in the middle.
Yeah. Some like to pick extreme because that's when they get there. It's like the news has become like clickbait. They want you to watch their channel. They want you to listen to them because they want you to get all that money to them from all their lovely advertisements. But at the end of the day, if they're not telling you the actual news, they're just telling you their opinions of stuff. You know, I was trying to help a student earlier this morning look at the difference between fact and opinion, and boy, those lines get blurred so easily.
They want what gets the attention and money. Absolutely, Dad. Yeah. And I see earlier you said statistics focuses a lot on not being biased. If you're doing it truthful,
it should be unbiased.
They do. You should be able.
That's why they do blind studies and stuff. You know, like take away names, take away gender, take away age. You know, just look at a group of participants and strip away all possible bias factors.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ideally speaking, I should be able to survey a random number of 100 people. And even if I know the statistical data, ideally I would, out of 100 people, I would choose 50 in a conservative area, 50 in a liberal area. And then ask the same questions the exact same way to the exact the exact represented bodies. Yeah. Little sarcasm about the gecko. You know.
Gecko? Where's the gecko? We're talking about a gecko. The gecko gets paid well. Oh. Gecko. I got part insurance. That gecko.
I assume we're talking about Geico, the gecko. Maybe. But yep.
Oh yeah. Seen him lately, but we don't watch TV very much.
No, we don't.
My students ask me, "Hey, did you see the ad with LeBron James?" And
but while we're on the subject of car insurance and 15%, this isn't car insurance, but if you guys go to repsports.com and use promo code BGilbert85, you could save 15% off of your whole entire purchase order. Sorry. I had to. Low-hanging fruit. But anyways, I digress.
May as well put that on there. Gecko.
So does anybody else have any other questions for us? I'm trying to think of other things that I can ask her, and like I said, I honestly expected that you would say no to the invitation to come on stream, because I know you don't like to verbally talk to people despite your profession.
Right, it doesn't make sense.
And that you don't like to be on camera.
There's a difference for me somehow, like even talking to people in church, talking to people I don't know, talking to people I do know sometimes. I never talked much in high school because I'd get nervous and the words would not do right coming out of my mouth. Like I would have this whole good idea of what I'm going to say, and then it would come out sounding like I have no brain in my head. Because I would get nervous and chop up my words all over the place. I'm like, what did she just say? And I've gotten past that somehow. I've gotten to where with teaching, and I'm just used to it. I guess because it's been so ingrained in me that I know what I'm talking about. I can tell you about nouns and verbs and adjectives. You don't want to hear it, but I can tell you about it because I learned about that. And other stuff where you kind of have to be more thinking on your feet and ad lib and make it up as you go. That makes me nervous.
So we got a couple questions that came through, and with that, I want to ask if Schoolhouse Rock, Conjunction Junction, what's your function? Was your favorite song when you were growing up? But before we go to that, so I got asked what service and where did I go to basic? I was in the Air Force, specifically the National Guard, but I went to Iraq in 2005, Afghanistan in 2012, and then in 2017 I was working, quote unquote, remotely supporting various operations that I can't go into depth about. As far as basic training, I went to Lackland Air Force Base. It's where everybody in the Air Force goes. For those that don't know, the Navy has 2 locations. The Marines has 2 locations. The Army's got a bunch of locations, but the Air Force and I assume the Space Force now has one.
You think they'd have to come up with another? They released apparently some ideas of what the Space Force uniforms are going to look like, and people are making fun.
Oh, I've seen, and they're goofy. And Debs also asked us how did we come to our faith? So for me, I was 12, 13 years old. I forget. But I was told that by the time I was in my 40s, maybe 50s. By the way, these are blue light blocking glasses, not prescription glasses.
You think you're better than me?
But
mine are prescription glasses.
So I used to wear glasses. I was told by the time I was in my 40s or 50s that I would be legally blind. And how's it going, Drew? Welcome. And year after year, my eyes did get worse. I started wearing glasses, I think, when I was around 10. No, I know you don't know.
Oh.
But
you weren't wearing glasses in that picture. However old you were.
Yeah, I think I was 8. Anyways, I went to a healing revival, knowing about Jesus, but not having a relationship with Jesus. In my mind, and this is stupid as it sounds, and I apologize for this, he was like Merlin. He was this magical wizard dude that did cool things through magic. I was into magic. I still like magic. I find it fascinating. But anyways, how I came to know Christ, there is a passage in there about having a mustard-sized seed of faith. That is literally all the faith I had because I didn't really know who Jesus was. I went to a healing revival, got my eyes prayed over. I'm like, I don't know who this Jesus dude is, but I have literally nothing to lose. I went and got prayed over, and immediately colors were more vibrant. Things were clearer. I went back to the doctor. My prescription got a little better. The following year, it got a little better. The following year, it got a little better. And fast forward, my last eye check that I went to, I have 20/10 in one eye, 20/15 in the other eye. So I have better than 20/20 vision in both of my eyes. When I was told that I'd be blind by the time I was in my late 40s to early 50s. And same with my hearing. For those that don't know, I was born deaf in one ear and I couldn't hear out of the other one. And people are like, oh, isn't that the same thing? So to explain that a little more clearly, I couldn't hear out of one ear at all. The other ear, I only had 5% of my hearing. And of course, I had a speech impediment because of that. I had to get tubes put in my ear. That fixed the issue. But, praise be to God that he gave the doctors the steady hands and the wisdom to do the job that they did so that I might be able to hear like a normal person. And for for the longest time, probably up until I joined the military, to be honest, I heard better than most people. That's not the case anymore, but I spent my first 9 years working on aircraft, which are quite loud, so there are some things I don't hear as well as I used to. That's my story about how I came to know God. Was just, getting an invitation to church, and I don't know who this Jesus guy is, but I'm gonna step out and see what it's about. I have nothing to lose, and from there it just it grew for several years. I hit later in my teens. I went through a very rebellious stage. I never denied God, but I definitely backslid very hard. Um, and that lasted for many, many years, if I'm honest. Never lost faith, but I definitely hit a moment where I questioned, did God lose faith in me? Because I went so far south in my mind, that I just felt unworthy, like a lot of people do. And of course, the devil likes to remind us of that reality, and it is nothing more than a lie, to keep us down in the pits. We just got to fight back with the word. And meant to reference it earlier, but I saw one of you guys mention about putting on the armor of God, and that's exactly what we got to do. With Yeah, and with that said, I'm going to let my wife share about how she came to become a Christian and accept Jesus into her life.
I'm trying to remember. I didn't really go to church at all growing up. I think maybe between the ages 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. I went to church with my parents for a short time. We went to a Baptist church, and I don't remember how long we went there because I was a kid, and time is so different when you're a kid than when you're an adult. Like, it could have been 3 months we went there, and it felt like 3 weeks. Could have been 2 years, and it felt like 2 months. I don't know. But we went there for just what seemed like a little while for me. And other than that, we never went to church growing up. I just remember my mom would tell me stories from the Bible that she knew. She would tell us that there was a Jesus. She would tell us why we celebrated Christmas. And she didn't really have to sell it to me. Somehow I just remember believing that. I don't know at what point I just really started believing that, but I guess I just believed my mom. And that was really all it took to convince me. So when it came to being in high school and everything, I kind of was a little bit different than some of the kids, being shy and all. I tried to, kind of keep to myself and just had a few select friends that I hung out with. And so that kind of kept me more sheltered and away from some of the kids that were doing maybe not so good things. But just, I don't know, somehow my mom had a way of selling me on it, I guess. Like everything she told me, despite not really reading the Bible much. Believe what she had to say. I believe the values she was trying to teach me, and I kept those values for myself. And 11th grade, I think it was. I'll backtrack a little bit. I remember 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade in elementary school. I remember there was a kid somewhere. I can't remember which kid it was. Somebody had asked if I went to church, and I would tell them the name of the church we used to go to. And then in high school, had to have been at least 9th grade, maybe 10th grade. Different kid somewhere asked me what church I went to, and I just made up the name of a place that I did not go to church, because somehow, even though I didn't go to church, I felt like I should, and I felt like it was a good thing for people to go to church, and I almost felt ashamed that I didn't go to church. So in like 11th grade, maybe 12th grade, I started going to church with a friend of mine that I've known since 2nd grade, and through going to that church, we would sing, we would do the worship, there would be the pastor doing the message and all that. We helped with children's church a little bit, which was cool and cute. It's hard to get too mad at little 3 and 4 year olds, It might have been older, I can't remember. I'm short. People's ages are, I'm bad at guessing ages unless they just look old or look very young. I don't know how old they are. I can't guess anymore. All my students are taller than me, so. It was a fun experience, and then just one day, even, I think it was, I've still got the book somewhere. I want to say it was May 18th or May 13th of 2003. So it was my senior year, a couple weeks before graduating high school. There was actually somebody at that church who they had made an announcement that they were going to be baptized. And I told my friend, hey, I've never been baptized. So she asked if I wanted to be baptized. I was like, yeah, I want to be baptized. I did not have a change of clothes. I was not prepared for that. I had to ride home in wet clothes, but I was baptized that day. And to me, that was kind of a big step because I still have the picture, but I think the frame's broken. Something's broken. There's broken glass in that big tub upstairs in our closet. So I need to pick through that carefully one day. But I still have the picture somewhere that shows me after I'd come up from being baptized. Youth pastor did the nice little dunk for me there in the baptismal. And it's an important step, I think, to kind of make that faith leap, to say that you believe the gospel so much, that you believe the story of Jesus so much, that you're willing to do a physical act in front of other people to prove it. And that's kind of a big thing. It's memorable. And, there's always been little things here and there that's been struggles. We've talked about struggles, but there's been many prayers that have been answered just randomly. I had a student that was complaining about how he didn't feel well when he just come back recently after being gone. He had COVID, and he said that he'd prayed about feeling sick about it and everything, and he got feeling better pretty quickly afterwards. And he asked me about if I'd go to church and pray, and I told him about the story of one time when I was in college and I had a bad toothache, and I had a test, maybe even more than one test the next day that I had to do, and I needed to go to sleep. And I finally just couldn't sleep, and I prayed that the pain would go away so I could get at least enough sleep. And I think I also prayed that, I don't even know how many hours of sleep I actually got, but I prayed that the 2, 3, whatever hours I got of sleep would feel like 6 or 7 hours of sleep. And I actually woke up the next morning, and the pain, I'd fell asleep. So the pain went away at least enough. I went to sleep. I felt ready to go. I was able to go do my test. I guess I did well enough on my tests because I made it through college okay. But not only did the pain in my tooth go away, but there was like a blister on my gum where it was abscessing. I think that's when my wisdom teeth were coming in and it was pushing. But not only did that pain go away, but like the abscess was gone, just poof. Just cleared it right up. God just like, oh, snatch that up. We don't need that. That's causing you pain. So, we've both been healed in bigger and lesser ways. But I think you just have to have faith to even try. Some people won't pray about certain things because they think, God wouldn't do anything about that. It's such a small thing.
It's too small.
I've prayed for small random things like, I can't find my keys, God. Where are my keys? And I found them in a really random place. But, don't be afraid to ask God for help for any little thing. I mean, he can help with the big things because he knows about the big things. But, he might help with the little things too. He knows we're kind of silly down on here on earth, and there's so many things that can cause us problems. So we need a little help down here. I'm falling out of my chair.
And I wanted to go back. I saw where DJ Para put in February 2019, 2 streamers shared the gospel with her. I know one of them is, of course, Missionary Gamer. She's shared that with me. He's the guy that's made the chapter verse pot, because I don't think you're aware of that.
Okay.
But
I figured it's me.
And since then she's been on the road of seeking him. One of the moments that she won't forget is a moment where her mom didn't treat her well. And of course, as parents, I know I can admit that there are times where I don't treat my kids well. I get it wrong. I think that's true for every parent, if we're honest about it. But anyways, she did something that was passive aggressive, and then just left her alone and walked out of the room, caused her to start praying and crying for a Bible to read from, and found a New Testament in an old toy box. And God works in little things like that quite often, and it's amazing. And Devs, we're grateful to have you as well. Happy to see that God is using you guys in streams and in your personal life. I get the praying for your football team to win, cringing at that now. That goes. Nothing is too big or too small. But at the same time, there is we got to pray for God's will, and I'm not sure if he really cares about sports balls.
It's like someone praying for $1 million. Like, do you actually need the $1 million?
And well, and
does God think you're going to do something good with that $1 million or do something bad with it?
Well, and that's the other thing. You can pray for that $1 million, like you mentioned, and you might get it if it's in God's will. But the odds are that you won't. And you mentioned don't get you wrong that you love your mom. It was just a circumstance, and I totally relate. Even though my dad and I have had so many rocky times, and he kicked me out after my mom died, and was so dependent on alcohol, and there was a lot of built up anger, justifiably so. I still loved him because he's my dad, and that's another one of those things that I have heard experts talk about is when parents scorn their kid or they lash out in the moment, and I've been guilty of this, that we don't cause our kids to stop loving us. We cause the kid to stop loving themselves. And I know for many years, and even now, 36, I have anxiety, I have depression, I take medication for those when I remember, but I got lashed out a lot, and if I'm honest, I do that with my kids, and when I catch myself doing it, I have to rein myself back, and sometimes it's too late. Sometimes I have to go and apologize. There's times where I get it way wrong, and that's just, I'm not going to excuse it because it's not right, but every parent gets it wrong sometimes. Every parent gets it right sometimes too, but one of the things where my dad got it right is he pushed me in school to do well. Crypto Gaming, thank you for that follow. Hope you're doing well. Welcome. We're just chilling, just my wife and I, doing a just chatting tonight with all of you guys. If you guys have any questions, do feel free to ask. I kind of want this to be an open forum as we share a little bit about us, a little bit about our life, and things that I guess I've been streaming for about a year and a half, and at some point it's kind of nice to just have an open dialogue with the community, and that's kind of what this is.
Going back to, like you said, about the parents sometimes making bad decisions, and I mean, we all do that. I mean, I feel like I'm not rough enough on our kids sometimes. I kind of get them go by with stuff, and then I have to try to turn them around and get them to go the right way. Like, it's not ever too late to turn around and go back the right way, but it's a lot easier if you don't get too far gone the wrong way to turn around. It's a much shorter distance to make a U-turn after going 1 mile the wrong way than to make a U-turn after going 5 miles the wrong way. So sometimes I don't catch them enough, and that's something I have to work with my kids, and also even being a teacher. Like, I mean, I don't want to be the mean person constantly getting on to somebody, because I'm not naturally a mean person. I'm naturally wanting to try to lift people up and make them feel better, but sometimes I have to get my grit on and be a little bit rougher with him. I had to get onto a student earlier because he was messing with my microwave at work. I'm like, that's where I cook my food for lunch. Get away from my microwave. I will go psycho.
DJ Para, you have a wonderful night. God bless. We'll be praying for your test tomorrow.
Why are you up at midnight?
Get some rest. She's always up this late.
You should go to sleep sooner.
I tell her this too. We sound like parents. Oh wait, we are.
They say you can sleep when you're older, but not really, because then it gets harder to sleep when you get older. I'm fine.
But-
She says as she starts drooling and head hits the pillow at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you, Crypto. I appreciate
But
it.
good night, DJ Para, and get some sleep, and good luck on your test tomorrow.
I remember when midnight used to be early.
Yeah.
A long, long time ago in a galaxy
Now,
far,
if I
far
see
away.
midnight, it's not usual. Like we might stay up later and watch Naruto and stay up past midnight, but not usually. I can't remember when I last saw 2 a.m.
New Year's.
Other than like rolling over and
New Year's.
looking at my phone and waking up and it's 2 a.m. Go back to sleep. But people nowadays, like I have students that'll go to bed at 3 in the morning and have to get up early and come to school. I'm like, why do you do this to yourself?
You're gonna do great. I believe in you.
If nothing else, just pray that the amount of sleep you get is double than what it feels like when you wake up in the morning. Just you get 5 hours of sleep. No, it's gonna feel like 10 hours of sleep. Oh,
Our cat is begging for attention. But
over here. I can't pick you up from that way. I will fall out of this.
yeah, it's an interesting thing to
Here's the kitty again.
look at where we were and
People like kitty cats.
where
It's
we
a cat
are,
video.
the lessons that we've learned along the way, and stuff like that. She and I have known each other since we were in 7th grade, but we didn't really talk to each other all that much outside of hi, how are you? Okay, see you. We played in band together. We had some classes together, but we didn't really talk. And we're dating ourselves. So I think we've already set our age though, so it doesn't really matter. We're old. What's going on, Mr. Sackley? How you doing, man?
I'm older than he is.
Yeah, she's older than me, so she just looks younger and better. But it's my better half for a reason. But yeah. So we didn't talk much in junior high and high school. What was it, about 3 years after we graduated MySpace? We started we started talking on MySpace, which isn't 6 years. Okay, so six years. Yeah, I'm terrible with time. MySpace and AIM. Yeah. Mr. Zach Lee knows what I'm talking about. Welcome. You've got mail. But
screeching dial-up internet.
But yeah, you know, we after we graduated, we started talking on MySpace as friends, and somewhere along the line, yeah, we worked at Walmart together for a while and didn't talk to each other there either.
Not the right time.
You think this was before your time? Could be when you was really young too. It wouldn't have been before your time, but you would have been young. It was still a thing when
MySpace was created August 1st, 2003. So
hey, it came out on my 18th birthday, August 1st of 2003. 7 cheese pizza drinks the tears of your enemies. Fair enough. I pray for my enemies. But and MySpace is still technically around, but it's not what it used to be. It used to be a social media site. Now it's a band platform. But it went probably from like 2003 till about 2009, and then Facebook kind of took over, and
now people our age still like Facebook to an extent, but people slightly younger than us are like Instagram,
Snapchat.
Before that, Snapchat, now
And,
TikTok, and
yeah.
this is why we can't communicate.
Yeah. This is why there's technology language barriers.
Yeah.
Never wanted Tom as a friend. I don't think anybody did cheese pizza, but everybody got him as their friend. Of course, for those that don't remember MySpace, Tom, he was the creator of MySpace. He ended up selling it. I think he sold it in 2005 for several, like 500 million or something like that. It was definitely a lot of money. He was able to retire, and somebody tried to roast him, and failed miserably because he's like, oh yeah, that's terrible being 30 and retired. What do you say to that?
Dabs, I think a lot of people are going away from Facebook. I know he is for most things. He's hardly ever on Facebook, but most of the reasons I'm on there is just keep up with friends and family that are back where we're from and not here. And even some people that are around here. I see some of their posts and stuff, but nowadays most people think of Facebook as where you go to get the news or to have them bug you about coronavirus. They will bug you to death every single post. Has like a corona warning on it. There was one the other day, somebody had spelled the word, they spelled the word vicinity wrong. It's spelled VICINITY. They spelled it VAC. So anyways, it was spelled too close to like vaccine, and so Facebook put a little vaccine warning thing on the bottom because they spelled it wrong. It was police officers looking for somebody, and they spelled the word wrong, and so it got a COVID warning on it.
Mr. Zach Lee
So-
says the AOL You've Got Mail guy is from his hometown, and he's met him.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, most people nowadays don't use Facebook for that reason. Like, it's gotten to be too bogged down with the news sites and all the clickbait articles from all the and them trying to sell you something. You know, all the pages are either trying to sell you something, try to get you to believe what they believe. It kind of gets to be harder to actually use Facebook for what it was supposed to be for. You're supposed to be able to contact friends and family, meet new people, social networking. That's what it was for. Now it's more like commercialized. Commercialized.
Not only have they commercialized it, they've made it partial to a particular set of people.
Yeah, they're all the little algorithms, the way they're supposed to make it to find out what you're interested in. Like, I've gone through my little... There's a long list of things you can click as far as what you like or don't like. And some of the things that were checked on mine, I'm like, no. I don't like those things. Why? I don't want to see ads for those things, but I still see ads for stuff I don't like. I mean, there's only so much you can do to personalize it. So, I mean, I don't know if their algorithm is broken or if they are purposely trying to get you to buy CDs of musicians you don't care about. Or I get ads for, like, crazy expensive clothing companies. Like,
well, and they're always listening,
jackets
so
that are
sometimes we'll mention something.
or something. And I'm like, I would never.
It would not surprise me if we get an ad for SpaghettiOs later. I'm just saying.
You're right.
If we get an ad from SpaghettiOs later, it's because
we said
she's got her phone, I've got my phone, we're talking on this, and there's been times where I've been streaming and I'd talk about something and then I'd get off and and it would be just like in chat and it'd be like, oh hey look, I was talking about this thing earlier. Closest thing you use nowadays is Twitch, YouTube, and Discord. Those are all good things. Great, now you're gonna get ads for SpaghettiOs.
Yep.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yep. Let me see if I got an ad yet. I'll scroll through real quick.
Okay, all I'm saying is if we get an ad for SpaghettiOs, hashtag sponsor me. But
I don't have an email.
You know, I'll take 5 cents per can.
That's sad.
That's unfortunate. So again, guys, I want to open this up to you guys. Does anybody have any questions that you guys would like to ask my wife or I? We've talked about gaming, faith, just our experiences, our trials and tribulations, things like that. You'll use code BGilbert85 at your local grocery store checkout. Nice. Let's go.
Any questions?
I haven't seen any new questions. I'm gonna give it just a little bit of time because some people are talking.
He's pretending he's gonna get a discount on SpaghettiOs now.
And
use BGilbert85 and you may get a 15% coupon off for SpaghettiOs.
well, and he and his family run a grocery store up north.
SpaghettiOs. Yum yum. But I mean, so far I'm actually seeing people.
Well, that's surprising.
Oh, Michelle had a baby.
Oh, well, good.
There she is. That's baby Davis. Another son.
Alrighty,
saw
I
that
am
earlier.
not seeing any new questions. You get SpaghettiOs for free anyways. It's a good price.
Hey, that's a good price for sure. Feeding children
Look,
free spaghetti.
I was gonna say legit though. If you're getting them for free, help out your local food bank, because you know it's awesome. Unless of course they're coming through supplemental programs, and then I don't want you to get in trouble. But
like agriculture,
future farmers or
USDA programs usually they give. That's how the kids are getting free lunches right now in schools.
yeah.
Trying to help people not have to worry about food during COVID. At least, if nothing else, you get food.
Well,
Like the food, but they get food.
I think we've kind of reached a dead zone. I don't want to bore everybody to tears, but if anybody does have any prayer requests, or if you guys got questions, let us know, and we'll continue. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap things up.
I had something else to mention. DJ Para's already gone to sleep. Hopefully, she needs to be going to sleep. Go to sleep. But she mentioned earlier that she randomly happened to find a New Testament version of the Bible in her toy box, and I was thinking when she mentioned that I mean, I don't know how many of y'all here are actually U.S. citizens right now, or how worldwide it is, but there's little orange and sometimes green Gideon Bibles that are like 4 inches by 3 inches or something, little bitty things. It wouldn't hurt. I mean, people get those all the time. We have a bunch somewhere. I remember packing them when we moved. But something that might be beneficial, if you think about those just sitting in a drawer somewhere, maybe grab a couple and leave them some random place. Because, she said that she needed it right then. Like, that's what she was kind of hoping to find, and that's what she found. So, I mean, maybe if you had some of those Gideon Bibles, and not necessarily be somebody handing them out on the street corner, but maybe just find some random place to put one. I mean, we don't have phone booths anymore. But, maybe find some place to leave them so that maybe the person who needs it will find it right there where they need it.
And on that note, if there is anybody that would like a Bible that's not one of those little
need to find where those
Gideons, let us know. We can send you guys
this one is not for
an ESV Bible. Obviously, it's not a 4-inch version. It is the full. It is the full Bible. The text is really small, but we ordered a case of 40.
I don't know.
30 or 40, I think it's 40, and we've sent out 4 of them so far. So if anybody needs one, definitely let us know. And
we have sent one as far away as
Uganda.
I don't know if he ever got it or not.
No,
but we sent it that far. It just got lost somewhere in customs, or
I'm worried somebody may have taken it.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully,
I mean, if they needed it, good. But
I mean, hopefully not, but we do got a couple new prayer requests.
The person we were giving it to could have used it as well.
We've got Cam that says he's going to North Carolina with high school. Prayers for safety on Monday. So they're heading out on Monday and staying till Friday. Jeff had surgery today, so prayers for recovery. That's also what Cam said. He's Cam's best friend and the best person anyone could ask for.
Okay.
And of course, Dab mentioned prayers for his mom, and for DJ Para's test.
And Vicky from our church has COVID pneumonia.
COVID and pneumonia. Okay. I'll let you chime in case I forget anything.
That's the one that came to my mind right now, but that doesn't mean my mind's not just foggy.
Yeah.
It's likely.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day, and just thank you for this opportunity for us to get together, share our story with the community, and talk about our faith and a little bit about our lives. I just thank everybody that's been a part of today's stream. I just ask that you would bless each and every one of them. I also ask that you would keep Cam safe, not only him safe, but his classmates and those around him as well, as they travel to North Carolina. I pray for not only their safety to get there, but their safety as they are there in regards to COVID, and just the people that they come in contact with. I pray that everybody just stays safe. And for his friend Jeff, I just pray for a speedy recovery as he's finished up with the surgery. And Lord, I also want to lift up Dabs and his brother, specifically their mom, that you would just heal whatever's going on in that scenario, that you would give the doctors guidance, that you would lead them, give them wisdom, and just give her the best care that she deserves. Also want to lift up DJ Para as she gets ready to take, I believe she said 8 tests earlier tomorrow, that you would just encourage her, that you would keep her mind sharp, that she wouldn't be distracted with things outside of the test, that you would just give her wisdom. And also want to pray for her mom's back, that it would also get better, and continue to pray for her cousin, that the situation that is going on there, that doctors would just figure out what is going on with her very, very young cousin. Lord, I also want to lift up Vicky, who's dealing with pneumonia and COVID at the same time. She's a member of our church. I believe last I saw, she was admitted to the hospital. Just ask that you would watch over her husband, and anybody else that is near them, that she might get the care that she needs to get back to life as she knows it. I know she's been dealing with a lot of different issues lately. Lord, I just ask for your mercy and your grace in all of those matters that are with her. Lord, although it wasn't asked, I'd like to pray for our friend Army Wife as she's started school back, still trying to work, still trying to take care of the kids, and her husband's currently off with military duty. Lord, I just pray that you would keep them safe, and just be with them in this time of need. Also want to continue to pray for my friend in Uganda, that he might get food, and that his health would increase, and that the people that are in his village, that they might get the care that they all deserve and need, that you would continue to use him as a vessel. Lord, I also pray that you would continue to soften our hearts as people, and that as we go forward, we become a little bit more like you each day, and we die a little more to ourselves, and draw nearer to you, and that you continue to use my fellow Christian streamers as vessels for you, that when difficult times come, that you would just give them the right words to say to the right people at the right time. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And guys, that is where we are going to go ahead and end stream. Thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. I honestly expected you to say no. Proud of you for stepping outside of your comfort zone. So thank you.
Except we can never think of anything else to discuss, but not do it again. But, I mean, I was telling him earlier, I don't like not having an idea of what topics we're going to talk about. Like, I'm not the ad-lib, hot mic, on-the-spot kind of person. I'm usually needing a little bit more planning. I'm the planning type. He's the random squirrel type. I'm the make plans 5 weeks ahead of time person. So doing this and not having an actual set plan of where we were going with any of this conversation, it's a bit stressful for me. But, I mean, we managed to get some ideas flowing that kind of made sense together, I think.
Yeah. And guys, thank you so much for being part of the stream tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to eat the SpaghettiOs. When you get ads, what can I say except you're welcome? But we will be back Saturday. We're doing community night. So hopefully
yeah,
we'll
today's Thursday.
hopefully we'll see you guys then. Till then, you guys take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless. And as she said, we might do this again down the road, especially if it's something you guys enjoyed seeing. Hearing her say that is also shocking. Maybe she's trying to kill me. I don't know, guys. But
yeah.
But God bless, guys. We're gonna go ahead and send this raid over to Aki, and we will catch you next time.
All right.
B. Gilbert just rated
I
us.
wanted to check and make sure that they were good, because if you guys are good, you can start the encounter whenever. And let me rally real quick, just to make sure. And then, because I need to talk to all these awesome people that are here. Okay, I'm ready whenever you guys are. Yeah. Oh, man. B. Gilbert, too. SJ Sensei, by the way, if I didn't tell you already, your hair is amazing. It looks great. I hope you're enjoying it. She got a big haircut, so it's a new hairstyle and everything. Let's go, Mr. Zach Lee. B. Gilbert, thank you so much for coming in and dropping this up for 13 months.
We're so happy to see
B.
you,
Gilbert,
bud.
how was your
How are
stream?
you?
Doing just chatting tonight? SJ Sensei, when I saw you, you were also doing just chatting. But guys, we're big on no matter how big or how small the raid is, we are so thankful that anybody would choose to share their community with
Oh my
ours. So we are
gosh.
so grateful for everyone that's here. And it was just the wife and you. There's nothing wrong with that, B. Gilbert. That's awesome, man. I hope you guys had a great time. Thank you so much for coming by and hanging out tonight, talking with the community.
That's what it's all about. You know,
Well,
really.
fun fact, B. Gilbert, I'm
Connecting
actually part of a charity stream for the Wounded Warrior Project happening in November. I'm helping a bunch of other streamers and content creators, and one of them rated us tonight, which is why we are really blessed with a lot of people hanging out here tonight. King's Creations, if you see him in the chat, you should definitely go drop him a follow. I think you'd appreciate him. For those of you who don't know, B. Gilbert is also, he's a fellow veteran, and he's a really awesome dude. And I love him and all that he does, and his focus on not even just veterans, but just loving the people in this community, this Twitch community. So
For sure.
and SJ Sensei, you never know what's going to go on in her chat. We bond over the whole ADD, ADHD thing because we